The plume and the pistol. A fitting end to my folly, and a curse upon us all.
Hey everyone! Welcome back to some more Let's Play Modded Darkest Dungeon with me, your host Tim. This is going to be a special episode, or a unique one, because I will not be doing any adventuring in this episode. There'll be a link in the lower left-hand corner where you can click on that to be jumped ahead to the next video, which I'll make sure gets uploaded the same day this one does, and you can watch the adventure that we decide to go on. It'll be linked from the very beginning, because we're going to leap right into it in that video. But for this one, we are on week 44. So we are at, more or less, just slightly less, the halfway point in the mod. So I'll take some time. We're going to talk for probably about 40 minutes or so, just about the mod and how I think it's coming out so far. What I'm happy with, what I'm not happy with, what I think still needs work. We're going to talk about all the dungeons and the creatures therein. We're going to look at all the trinkets for a little bit. I'll talk about how I think I'm doing there. We'll look at all the heroes, talk about anything I still think I need to do. Just in general, how it's all working out for me so far. Then we'll talk about what I plan to do with the mod, because it's going to be time to release it to the world soon. And I got to think of how I'm going to do that too. So first off, again, you can click on that link. I'll leave the link up for probably the entire length of this video, because there's no reason not to. I'm sorry if it's annoying. It'll be in the lower left-hand corner. But just in case you change your mind, because again, this is going to be a lot of talking. Alright, so let's talk about everything, shall we? Where even to begin? So, let's begin in the beginning. We're going to take a look at all these buildings, and we're going to talk about the changes I've done compared to the base game. We're going to talk about how I think it's working out, or if it's not working out, and what I'm happy with, and what I'm not happy with. So here we go. So, first off, the stagecoach. So, I've changed the stagecoach, as you know, that I've given us a larger roster size every time that you unlock it. As you can see, you get 2 more characters here than you used to, then 4 more, 4, and then an extra, this is just a flat extra 5 at this point. Now, there's a total of 15 characters, so I think this would give you, is that right, 15 characters? There's either 14 or 15 total characters in the game. This would let your roster hold 2 of each, which I like that idea, so I'm pretty happy with that. I originally wanted the extra 5 slots to be linked to the Stagecoach network instead, but I can't do it. Originally, I wanted, as you leveled this, for either higher level heroes to arrive, or for heroes to arrive that had locked positive quirks, or there be some reason why you could possibly want to upgrade the Stagecoach past 4. I only made 5 because I was desperately looking for Houndsmasters. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the Stagecoach. I've increased the cost of the Heroes Barracks since it now gives you more people, but that was the only real thing I've changed from the base game, and I think the Stagecoach is pretty fine. We're done with it, unless I really feel the irresistible urge to unlock everything here. I won't be touching the Stagecoach for the rest of this estate. The tavern remains unchanged from the base one, other than I've stripped it of the increased costs for hero stress relief. It's week 45, so we're at the halfway point, and the majority of the tavern has been upgraded. We actually have a few extra spaces here, which I'm hoping we never have to really worry about upgrading. So far, it's working pretty well. I think the tavern's looking pretty good. I could always add other, how should we say, effects for resting here. You know how you can gamble and lose a trinket, or you can drink and pass out and go somewhere? You can add other effects to the tavern. I haven't wanted to do so because I feel there's already enough negative things that happen to you here that you don't really need another one. But that's always an option as well if I feel this needs any more. The upgrade costs feel about right. Portraits are you really want to hoard them to spend them in the guild. We're on the halfway point, and we're just about done with the portraits that we need throughout the game. The rest of it can be slowly thrown over here in the tavern. These are going to be sunken into the guild very, very soon. But the tavern feels good. I like the upgrade feel. It could be argued that maybe I want to upgrade this again slightly, but I'm a little nervous that if I increase the heirloom cost for this place, people just won't even bother with the tavern whatsoever. So I want it to be tempting for you to upgrade this in addition to the Abbey. See, people think the Abbey is safer, and it is, because you can't lose trinkets in the Abbey. I could add an event in the Abbey, which is that the pastor or whatever shatters your trinket, or it breaks on you. The light burns it away or shatters it. But I don't really like that idea. People are already, people don't like losing very powerful trinkets because the light burns them away. So, no. So, it's already tough to get people to go to the bar and gambling. Most people will just go to the brothel to get stress relief. So, I want it tempting. I don't think I should upgrade the heirloom cost at all for this place. Again, it feels kind of fine to me. Feels kind of fine. I like it. Sanitarium. Sanitarium feels good. Where at the halfway point, I still need more busts to fully unlock the rest of the Sanitarium. With the reduction for dungeon rewards, which I did about week 20-something, I'm positive that this is going to be right. This feels right. I still need more busts. We're not getting enough. So, we need another 51 to totally unlock this, plus another probably close to 32 to unlock the complete medical devices, and then we are finished. I could probably add a little more disease into the game in some fashion. Maybe when you walk into the mushroom trap, instead of blighting you, it tries to give you a disease instead. That would be nasty. That's actually pretty cool now that I think about it. But I'm not sure about that yet. We'll talk about that when we look at the weld. But overall, I really like this. As you know, I stripped the increased costs out of here, and I am constantly throwing people in here to treat quirks, to lock positive ones and get rid of negative ones. By lowering the cost, I'm hoping to encourage players to spend money at the Sanitarium to get rid of locked quirks and lock positive ones on their heroes. And I think it's working out. In fact, I'm so tempted to do that, I still don't save a lot of money to spend on trinkets. My thought is that by about week 60, you'll have everything unlocked, you'll have probably everything as cheap as it will get, and you'll begin saving money for trinkets at that point to put the finishing touches on your heroes. In any case, this has felt about right. I like the upgrade costs I've done for this, both in gold and heirlooms. So, pretty happy with the Sanitarium as well. For the most part, I'm happy with all the buildings in this location. The Abbey, just like the Tavern, I'm pretty happy with the upgrade costs here. This is the safer option for you to throw your heroes in. Slightly increased chance of getting quirks that you don't want, but if you like your trinkets, you want to put people in here. So, again, the heirloom cost seems fine. The gold cost also seems fine. I removed the increased gold costs from this location because I want players to be spending money on things they want and feel like they've been making progress on their heroes, that they actually have a nice, good, solid team, A team, B team, C team, etc., rather than constantly throwing all their money just in stress relief and or treating quirks. So, very happy with the Abbey so far. Guild feels about right. It's still, even with all these costs upgraded, the level 4... Oh, really, I need one more freaking portrait. It's costing me... Let's see here. Can I give you an example? No, I can't, because I leveled up all these people already. Oh, here we go. So, Splicer. Oh, Splicer's not level 4, so he... Wait. Oh, it's weapons. That's weapons he has there, not skills. That's weapons he needs. It's costing me about slightly over $2,000. Is that right? Yeah, slightly over $2,000. About $400 per ability to level someone up. That's a pretty decent chunk of change. Leveling a level 3 hero to level 4 costs me roughly at the moment about 5,000 gold, which is, hey, that's a decent chunk of change in this mod. So I'm pretty happy with how this is working. Plus, it's cheap enough that you can begin taking maybe a secondary ability here or there on your characters. Some of my characters, as you can see, have other abilities upgraded and leveled as well. So, the guild costs seem fine to me. I'm glad with the actually, I don't think I might have... I think these are actually the same costs in game for the guild, or maybe slightly lower or slightly higher. The only thing I did was greatly decrease the gold cost. In the base game, a level 5 skill is, I want to say it's 3,000 gold to take it. And in my mod, I think it's 1,200 gold to take it without any of this training regimen selected. So it's half the cost or slightly more off, like 60% off the price, the base price in this mod. which I think is good, because I still want you spending money in the sanitarium, and I want you saving money for trinkets, rather than doing one mission in order to level someone's all their skills up. So, the guild, again, pretty happy with the guild. There's not a lot of grinding required in the game for that. Blacksmith. We still need more deeds. In fact, we're going to need them soon. So we probably should be looking to do the well, because we're going to have level 5s joining us very, very soon now. Probably 3 or 4 missions for these for this group. And then they'll be ready to go. So we need more deeds, and we're still not at 100% here. I'm a little nervous that this is still slightly too expensive, but I think it's worth it. There is probably still a small bottleneck here for deeds, but it's nowhere near what it was in the base game. The gold cost as well was greatly lowered. Instead of, I think it's like 8,000 gold or something like that for a level 5 weapon, mine is, I want to say, like 2,700 for a rank 5 weapon or armor. Significantly less. And characters that have now the armor smith or weaponsmith, holy crap, it is so cheap for them to take that upgrade. It really helps with your finances in the long run. So again, really happy with the blacksmith. Glad it doesn't take that much. I probably could have not spent as many deeds in leveling my roster, because I have these 4 people I'm probably never going to play until I start losing entire teams. Like, these 4 are just going to stay here. So I probably could have left it. That would have saved me 17 deeds. I could have leveled this up another rank and made it even cheaper for me, or probably gotten even closer to armor smithing, especially if I didn't level the stagecoach's incoming hero number by another one. We could have definitely have afforded the rank 5 armor by now. So this feels good. Everything here feels fine when it comes to the heirloom cost. Oh, let's cover these places as well. So, since the original game, I have fiddled with these numbers a bit, with the merchant network cost increasing by, I think, 8 total deeds each rank. So it's slightly more expensive than it was when I first began recording this playlist, but I'm pretty happy with it now. It's expensive, but it does give you something to dump deeds, crests in, and in addition, I have greatly lowered the cost of all the trinkets. Most of them saw a cost decrease by like half or so. So they're somewhat affordable now, as opposed to costing like $20,000 to buy one. Holy crap, why would you ever do that ever? So now they're significantly better, I think. Both in costs for the heirlooms here and the purchase cost. It's more tempting. The side effect, of course, by lowering the cost of purchasing these items is that they're not worth as much when you sell them, which also contributes to the fact that it's a little tougher to get money in my mod, but you need less of it. So it's working out, I think. And the Survivalist also saw a slight upgrade. I think a total of 8 again for her for every upgrade that she requires. I'm actually quite content with it being at 40%. When I get money, I'm just dumping it and everyone's beginning to get their 4 skills now. So it's looking pretty good right here. Even in the base game, I was pretty content with just 2 upgrades here, even though it costs you like 100-something crests to do that instead. But since I've lowered the amount of crests you find in adventures, I feel that this reduced amount for the Survivalist is good as well. I'd actually level this right now, but I want these crests for the guild, so won't be spending them. So all the buildings in town, they feel about right. I've cut down what I think is the grind required to acquire all these items. So, and it feels right. I'm always just have enough money for the next quest, because I'm always finding something. I'm like, I need to get this all the time. And when my level 3s begin leveling level 4s, I'm dumping money in my level 4s now. And the same thing's going to happen with level 5. So I don't feel like I have too much money yet. It's all going to good things. It's not like I'm just have all this endless cash and I'm like, I don't know what to spend all this money on. No, I know what to spend the money on all the time. So far, it's really working. I'm really, really happy with that. Okay, next, let's take a look at the dungeons really quick. I'm going to talk about each of them, and this might take a little bit because I'm going to try to cover all the creatures and everything in them, and what I have left to do, and if I'm happy with them or not. So let's start first with the ruins. So, since we first started this, I have now altered the amount of rewards you get. So, small missions, small level 1 missions, reward you with what you see here. 2 busts, 3,000 gold. These ones reward you with 4,500 and 3 busts. And there's no long mission here. Actually, there's no long missions at all. The long missions, I think, reward you with 6 busts? It might be 4. And I want to say like 6,000 gold or 6,500. The rank 3 numbers increase this number by 1,000 at each level. So a medium level mission here is 6,500 as opposed. Oh, actually that's 2,000 as opposed to 4,500. This is a little lower than it was in the base game, so I've lowered the gold you get as rewards, and the heirlooms you get also obviously are reduced across the board as well. Really get 3 for one of these missions? I guess that's worth it. What else is there? Oh, and the trinkets, I haven't touched the trinkets you get for any of these. But for all the missions, I was going to talk about the ruins, not talk about everything. I've lowered the amount of gold you get for medium and long missions, and I've lowered the amount of heirlooms you get for completing them as well. So when you do a weld mission, you no longer get 12 deeds, you get 6. But you need nowhere near the amount of deeds you used to need to complete these quests. So I'm pretty happy with the changes here. Well, with the rewards at least. It seems to be working out, and it keeps you from rolling around in too many heirlooms and too much money. It's because I have lowered the cost on things. Now, the ruins itself. So, the creatures. The level 1 creatures feel about right. I've always been tempted to give like 1 or 2 more hit points to the Bone Soldier to give him a little bit of a chance to actually swing. But I'm a little nervous because he does a lot of damage and he can hit the 3rd rank. So I'm going to leave him alone. The Courtier feels about right. I've been tempted to give him an ability where he heals an ally by throwing his the wine on it. But if I do that, it actually will make the whole group weaker because he actually is so annoying causing that stress to you constantly that I feel it's better for him to do that. So I haven't wanted to add any new abilities to really any of the skeletons. The Bone Rabble, the weaker skeletons, I actually gave them more hit points. Like, they have 10 as opposed to the base games. I want to say 7 or 8, just to make them slightly more resilient. So your weak frontliners, like let's say that your Plague Doctor swings with the dagger, well, odds are won't kill one of them with a single hit. I kind of like that change. While we're here, we might as well talk about the cultists. I like the changes I've done to the cultists. They have protection, very, very little, but it's enough that they reduce the damage they take by 1. And they have more hit points in the base games. Or they might actually now have equal amounts, because I know Red Hook's been upping their hit points, just like I did some time ago. I removed, obviously, all the little debuffs that they give you. I think, like the Rend the Marked or something like that, they actually cause you to take additional stress damage or something. I just stripped all those debuffs out of them. I've been tempted to give the Cultist Brawlers 1 additional maximum damage. I think they do 3 through 5. I'm tempted to give them 3 through 6 instead, make them a little more dangerous. But I'm not sure at the moment, so I'm leaving it out. For the Curios in the ruins, you know, they're all good. I wouldn't change anything of them other than maybe making those statues you interact with, the battle statue and the defense statue, making those buffs last 16 turns as opposed to lasting until camp. They're really strong. So maybe alter them? I'm not sure. The trap is fine. That's spiky, very dangerous trap. No reason to alter it. Anything else really in the ruins? I don't think so. Everything else here seems pretty good. For the rank 3 creatures, I've been tempted to give the Ghoul an extra 5% protection, bringing him back up to 25%. Right now he's sitting at 20. I think he's at 20, so I'm tempted to up him up just a tad bit to help him be a little bit more resilient. I've been tempted as well, for the Ghoul, to make his Rend, to give him a second type of Rend. Right now, I've altered the Rend so that it hits the front 2 people. I want to say it does 4 through 8 damage? Might be 4 through 9. And it has a chance to inflict them with the Blight. I've been tempted to drop the Blight altogether and make it inflict 4 through 9 damage to front 2 people. And then give him another Rend, which hits anyone that in the front 3 spaces. And this Rend would hit that person for a little more damage, probably 4 through 10, and try a Blight on them. Maybe actually just still the front 2. That way it can be a little overwhelming if he hits the front 2 people and blights some of them, but I'm not sure if I should make that change. The gargoyles, so that you know, I did alter them. If a gargoyle is in the very front rank, it will only use Flurry of Claws. It will not use its Tail Lash. I did this because the gargoyles have a pretty damn good crit chance on their Flurry of Claws. I want to say it's like 18 or 19% on the level 3 versions of them. So if you're letting that gargoyle just Flurry of Claws you all the time, you're going to start taking crits from it. I did lower their protection. I think it was like 80% in the base game. I think they're 60%, and I think they go up to 80% at rank 5 in my game. But I don't like creatures having just a crap ton of armor, because, oh, it feels like you're hitting a brick wall, which is maybe what they're supposed to do. But I'm glad for that change. The Bone Commander, I still have to give him the debuff when he hits you with his mace. I want to give it like a minus 10% or 15% protection debuff when he uses his smash or whatever it is, that one ability. The Spearman feels about right. He's resilient. I gave him protection, so he's pretty good. He gets a thumbs up from me as well. Is there anything else in here? We might as well talk about the maggots, because this is where you first encounter them. I like my maggots. They're a little more dodgy, got a little more hit points, and I think they're fine. And the Cultist Witches, I'm pretty happy with the stress I gave them for their tentacle pulls and pushes. Overall, really happy with how the ruins have come out. Ghoul might be a little too strong, but I'm gonna leave him alone right now until I can test him a little more. The Weld? So the Weld's pretty good. I haven't really altered too well. Actually, I did alter somewhat of it. So the Fungal Shamblers, oh god, they're so annoying, and I love them. They have I think 25% or 20% less protection at level 3. I think they have 50% protection at level 3, but 24 hit points. I think mine have 28 or 29 hit points and 30% protection. I can't stand fighting Fungal Shamblers in the base game. It takes forever to chew through them. And so I've lowered them. I like the change I've done. I gave the disease back to the Fungal Artillery, even at level 1. I stripped that a long time ago in the mod. Before this playlist, we added it in. I like that. I like having all the diseases now because it helps you spend money. Didn't alter the dogs, so they're fine. Didn't out the Crone's curse got a little worse in my mod because it alters your dodge and protection. I think she's fine. The Unclean Giant needs more testing, but his Tree Branch Smackdown, I lowered the damage it does by, I want to say, like 6 minimum and 8 maximum damage at both levels, so it can no longer drop you to 0 life to 1 hit point, even if it doesn't crit you. And I gave him 10% protection. I might drop that protection off of him, because he's got a crap ton of hit points. But I figured the Fungal Shambler's got protection, the Fungal Artillery's got protection. This guy's a big giant fungus thing, right? He should probably have protection too. So I think I'm happy with him, but it needs a little more work. We need to go into the Weld a lot more often. I think we've only done 1, maybe 2 level 3 dungeons in the Weld at the moment, so we gotta go back in there and kill all the bosses that are in there. The dogs are fine. I hate the dogs. They don't do too much damage against people who are wearing protection, but those bleeds add up. They got a high chance to crit, and they afflict you with rabies. I think it's perfect. They don't really need any alterations. While we're here, we'll talk about the spiders. I've been tempted to give the spiders that spit 100% chance to hit you with 3 stress. That little bit of stress that all my creatures give you or have a chance to give you when they hit. 100% chance when the webbers try to web you, because I'm stressed out whenever they spit webs at me because I know I'm about to get spit on by the other spiders in that group. So maybe I can do that. And if I was an artist, I would make a giant spitting spider as well as something you can fight. So 2 webbers and a giant spider. But I'm not that good at art. I know what I would do for that thing. Anything else in the Weld? The Crone we covered? No, I think that's about it for the Weld. So oh, the trap. As I mentioned earlier, I was tempted to change it from a blight to a disease chance instead. If only because you get a ton of blight from the artillery. Oh, but if I do change that, there's a little less reason to bring the anti-venom to the Weld. So maybe I will leave it alone in the end. Let's talk about the Cove. So I haven't done a whole lot of the rank 3 Cove. But the only things I've altered with the Cove, really, were the Pelagic Groupers, in that I lowered Seaward's Slash's damage to be equal to the Harpoon's damage. They still do a ton of damage when they hit you. I've been also tempted to give both of them a small chance to hit you with a bleed effect. It will be a very weak bleed, so at level 3 it would be just 1 point of damage every round, and rank 5 would do 2 points. And the rank 1 creatures wouldn't hit you with a bleed at all. But I've been tempted to do it to make them a little more dangerous. I kinda understand now why the Grouper's Harpoon pulls people forward. There isn't very many creatures that can mess up your formation. But I don't want to give it to the Groupers if I can help it. I would like to... I've been thinking about trying to make another creature. Yeah, this will be later on in the mod. Not for the first release, not even for the second. But make some sort of weird, like, octopus creature that can pull you forward, just like how the Cultist Witch can. And it can slap people in the front row and stun them. I got ideas. But, I do want to... well, I'm sorry. I'm going on tangents now. Let's keep talking about other things. For the Guardians, those Octo Tanks, they feel about right. They're really annoying. They're very tanky. They do a lot of bleed damage. I like them. The Witch Doctor is pretty good. I like the Cultist Priest, Shaman, whatever it is. That's fine too. The Jellyfishes, perfectly fine. I like them. I mean, I haven't altered any of these creatures other than the Sea Snail, which I believe I lowered his protection. In fact, I need to make sure the level 3 gained protection, because he really should. And I haven't encountered any of those giant crabs yet for level 3. But I didn't alter them at all, I think. They still do exactly the same thing. So, nothing to talk about there. And the Warrens. So, I'm thinking I'm going to give the pig tank, not the swine tar, the one that has a ball and chain. If his armor is still only 20%, I'm upping it up to 20. He needs to be a little more tanky for the rest of his pigs. I do tend to ignore him until the end, but I want him a little more tanky. The swine tars, as much as I hate to say it, I need to give him 5% more prot. He needs to go up to 25 as well. God, I hate swine tars so much. What else is in this place? The little wretches, they're fantastic. They don't need any alterations. The Reavers, the ones with the hooks, they're fantastic. I hate those things. That 33% prop with an excellent chance to crit and good speed. They're perfectly fine. Drummers are pretty good too. I need to make sure that the Carrion Eaters, the little ones, I've been tempted to give them one more hit point. Make them a little more troublesome to kill at least at level 3, or maybe 2 points at level 3. They still die really, really quick. Maybe that's okay. I'm not sure yet. Let me know what you think about that. For the large Carrion Eater, I need to do something about him. He dies way too quick. I don't know what to do. I can give him a little more hit points, I'm thinking. And I haven't seen him use Eldritch Roar yet. So I don't even know if that ability will ever happen. So I'll just have to keep watching him and make sure I got that ability correct. I think that's about it for the Warrens, too. And of course, the level 5 versions of all these things we still need to see. It's basically just slightly worse versions than level 3 creatures, and will take more stress, so I'm looking forward to that testing when that happens later on. For the bosses, the Ruins, I'm going to lower the Necromancer rank level 3 speed by 1 point. And I'll probably lower his level 5 by 1 point or 2 points as well when I see it. I hate the Prophet fight. I can't stand it. It is my least favorite fight in the entire game. I'm not going to change him more than I've already changed him. As you know, I made it so that he will never drop 2 Rubbles ever. He's already really tough. I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do. If there was some mechanic where if you moved the person out of the light and it canceled the light, that would be great. I would actually give the ability a chance to summon 3 people, because it would force you to move all your people around. But it doesn't. All it is just, you might as well just stand and tank it. Have someone guard someone else and just brute force through it. And I can't stand that fight at all. I hate the Prophet fight. I hate it. We have to kill him 2 more times, too. So, what am I going to do? The Cove, the Siren has always felt wonderful. I haven't altered her at all. The Pirates as well, haven't altered them at all. Great fight. Love both of them. They don't need any changes, or at least I wouldn't change them. Didn't change the Hag. Hag is fantastic. Didn't change the Cannon. I've been tempted to change the Cannon to lower its protection somewhat, just because it takes so freaking long to do the fight. I know it's an attrition battle, but oh my God, does that take a long time. So I'm thinking it can't hurt to lower the protection by 50% probably, because wow, it takes a while. But I like to check. I like to do the level 3 cannon before I make up my mind there. The Warrens, I think the Pig Prince or King or God, I think that's fine. Like we cleared those marks. We got beat up anyway. That is fantastic. The Unstable Flesh, as you know, I already removed its chance to hit anyone with 2 attacks, and it was tough. Like the last time we did the Unstable Flesh, it looked like we were going to just slaughter it, and it put up a good fight. We walked out of there badly hurt, so I'm pretty happy with that. A note about that fight, by the way, when we fought it, you remember how the one stun form, the Backbone, how it passed its turn at the very, very 4th rank of the enemy formation? That's in the base game files. I didn't change that, so I'm gonna give that back to him. I think that form of him is long enough that it should be able to hit anyone it wants in the hero group. So I'm gonna re-enable it to do so. For the amount of heirlooms we find, it feels perfect. It's really working. We're not ending up with hordes of these. We probably will as we start doing level 5 dungeons because we have nothing to spend them on. I was really hoping Red Hook would release some sort of heirloom dump, something for you to convert these into, and unfortunately there's nothing. I would like to have been like a potion shop, and you can spend heirlooms on them. I tried to make the heirlooms consumable originally. So crests, I tried to make it so that they would give you 10% protection and heal you 3 stress. I tried to make busts give you an accuracy and speed bonus. I tried to make portraits like heal 3 or 4 hit points when you use them in combat. But I couldn't figure out a way to link them in the game to do that. That way you have a choice. If battle's going poorly, maybe you start using heirlooms instead of bringing them back with you in order to gain this stuff. I thought that would have been a neat idea, but I wasn't able to do that. So, overall, I'm pretty happy with the dungeons. There's a few... Oh, and the traps. The Cove Trap, I love the Cove Trap. It is fantastic. That is a wonderful, really annoying trap, and it encourages you to bring even more medicinal herbs. And I love the Warren's spin wheel. That racer trap is fantastic. I also like the changes I've done to all the heroes by giving them all their... Don't worry, we're not going adventuring. By giving them all something here, I think that's nice that it all contributes. It also saves you a few bucks when you go on an adventure. So, really, really, really good. I'm pretty happy with all of that as well. For the trinkets that I've done so far with the mod, I'm pretty happy, but I know some of my trinkets are too strong. I have all these ideas floating in my head, and the problem is that I want to make trinkets so that when you get a trinket, you don't immediately look at it and go, oh, it's this piece of crap. Well, it's worth $750 when I sell it. I want you to think, oh, okay, I can find a use for that maybe, whenever you pick up any trinket. And the problem is that trinkets, some are godlike. Like, some are just fan-freaking-tastic. Like, I really like the Demon's Cauldron. Stun and debuff chance, that is incredible, especially the debuff chance. That is fantastic. A 1% crit and 10% virtue chance, who cares? Who cares? He's gonna probably go inflicted anyway. So that's great. Sacrificial Cauldron originally, 15% extra stretch damage for 10% damage? He doesn't do damage. Ever. So thus my changes and so on. And so all these trinkets kind of run the what's the word I'm looking for? Run the range of blues themselves. You have great blues and poor blues. Greens, you have great greens and bad greens. I want all the trinkets to be useful, and that you'll consider taking them and not just instantly vendoring them. I probably have a few that I've done which are still instant vendor, and I understand that when you pick up higher level trinkets, the lower level trinkets get scrapped. It's the way it works, right? There's stronger versions, or sometimes there's stronger versions of the weak stuff. But I still would like them all to be, I don't know, somewhat useful to you. But I know that I need work, probably some work done there as well. For the inventory, when we go out adventuring, it's felt about right. I'm glad I've lowered the gold to 1,350. There's going to be a lot of, I'm happy with the mod, but I am happy with the mod. And I'm not saying that just because it's me working on it. I'm happy with it because I like the results after seeing it. Lowering the amount of gold that you can bring back feels about right. again, since I have lowered costs everywhere, by getting a little less gold, it's ensuring that you're not just swimming in endless amounts of it. With the addition of the secret rooms, I'm glad that this doesn't seem to have broken anything. And when I add all these extra heads to the trinket list, I think it'll balance itself out, because that means you're going to have 14 times when you kill the collector that you don't get the expensive gem, or a chance not to get it. You'll get a head instead. So it will also lower the amount of gold you'll have circulating around for a little bit when you find these things. I'm very glad I changed the gems. There have been some times when I'm like, no, I want to keep the jades because we might find another one, and I like that. I've been tempted to increase the gold you get for the sapphires and rubies slightly, because honestly, I'm beginning to think that they're the most worthless of the gems to pick up, because you find getting a second one of them is so very rare. I could increase the chance that you find them, but then I'd be worried that you actually get a little too much money. I'm tempted to up the amount you get for them by an extra 100 gold. So a ruby would be worth 1,100 gold as opposed to 1,000 just flat. Anything else? Oh, the heroes. Okay, sure. We'll cover all the heroes. That means we're gonna look at the quirks as well. I still need work on the quirks. There are still some positive quirks that I'm like, oh, that's nice, but I don't care. And there are still negative quirks where I'm like, I don't care about that one at all. So yeah, so these still need some work for some of these things. I'm not quite sure which, well, I know which ones I want to change. I just have to find them. But on the whole, I'm glad for some of the changes I've done. It's at least made the bad ones worse, a lot of them. Like a Blutomania that didn't do anything, now at least gives you extra stress damage for the weld or walking in the warrens. Known cheat now. You don't. Now there's a reason to get rid of it if you pick it up, because normally you get known cheat, you're like, I don't care. I want some in the gambling hall anyway. No one goes to the gambling hall, but now you want to get rid of it anyway because this is another version of Kleptomania. And what have you. So I think I need some work occasionally over here when it comes to these things. Like Last Gasp. Would I ever lock Last Gasp? No. No, I wouldn't. Not really. At least it's not eyeball rolling bad anymore, which was just, I think, +2 speed. If hit points were below 50%. But it's, oh, I don't know. I think it still needs, I think some of these quirks need some work. And I am nervous about making them too good. Like, so my instinct would be to let Clotter be 30% bleed resist. Would you lock it, though? Probably not. You'd probably be happy to get it, but you wouldn't lock it. So the problem is, I can't make every quirk a lockable quirk. I'm beginning to finally realize that. It's not like you get a positive quirk, you're like, I need to lock all these quirks. No, there's going to be some where you simply can't lock them because they can't compete with other things that this hero has. Sorry, I'm thirsty. Yeah, so I think the quirks need some work. They need some work. The Hellion, I like her skills. So what I changed again on her was that Wicked Hack does a slight bit more damage compared to if it bleeds. And I've changed the debuffs so that they're all slightly different on her. They were originally all minus 20% damage, minus 15 dodge, and now they all have a different type of penalty associated with them. I don't like minus 15 dodge. I think that is a horrific debuff for these skills. I probably need to change Bleed Out to do even more bleed damage, or do something, because these skills do just about as much damage as this does. So something needs to happen over here. Its crit is 6%, so, but that ties Wicked Hack. I don't know, something else needs to happen with Bleed Out. I'm not sure what it is. And do I only have one Hellion? No, April Kelso is here as well. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with her skills overall, though. Her camping skills, I guess they're okay. Yeah, I don't really have much to say here. We could give Sharpened Spear. I could up its time unit cost to 3 and give it a plus 10% bleed skill chance or something like that as well. But then I'm worried it would compete too much with Battle Trance, so, or that no one would use it. Oh, and I need to change Reject the Gods to not be what it currently is. That penalty is actually stopping me from using it. I will never use Reject the Gods with that. So this, I will change this back to match exactly what Let the Mask Down does. It's going to do the exact same thing again, like what it used to do. Revel, I think I used Revel once. I actually kind of like this now. That's a lot of stress to drop on everybody. And that stress resistance penalty is very nice, so I think this is fine. I like Battle Trance, and these are, of course, okay. So, all good here. To Crusader, I've been pretty happy with Bulwark of Faith. I really like it. The little bit of stress, the Guardian Ally. I like this much better than the old version. I haven't changed, I don't think I changed any of his other skills either. Very, very happy with them. I did, of course, add protection. I do like the protection I added to all the heroes. It makes the tanks a little more tanky at level 1. At level 3, you immediately notice that they die a lot quicker because their hit points are nowhere near as high. And level 3 creatures are doing enough damage that you're still worrying about it despite your protection. So I'm glad for the change here. For his skills, I really liked the old Crusader's camping skills. I do like the change to Zealous Vigil that Red Hook did, so that's why I followed. Only, I think my version, he heals even less stress, but it costs 1 less time unit. And I like how my Zealous Speech better than Red Hook's. I like that he's all about stress reduction in some form. So I really like this on him. I absolutely love the change I've done to these skills by making now you have the option to have a melee Vestal if you really want to with Mace Bash. Unfortunately, I've lost my melee Vestals because they keep getting killed by spiders or horrible things focused on her because she's a healer. But at least you have that option. So I do like the change I've done. Now you can have her with both her heal skills up front if you want. I think her abilities here are okay as well. I don't really have any problems with these, so I'm pretty happy with this, with all her camping skills. For the Arbalest, I like her as well. Battlefield Bandage, I'm still torn on whether or not this should have the chance to cure Blatant Bleed, or if I should just strip that back off and give her back her increased healing percentage instead. I do like the change that she can heal herself in the 4th rank. I could somehow limit it so that she could only heal the rank she was in and forward. I would do that. So, for example, if she's pulled forward to the 2nd rank, I'm sorry, to the 3rd. Yeah, actually, well, actually, okay. So hold on. So you can't use Battlefield Bandage anyway in the 2nd or 1st rank, but if she was in the 3rd rank, I love a way to force Battlefield Bandage that she could only heal someone in the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st rank, but I can't do that, unfortunately. I do realize that changing Battlefield Bandage to rank 4, and I think this is the reason why Red Hook didn't want this to happen, is that there are trinkets that she really wants that only benefit her if she's in the 4th rank. So if you put her back there with, like, the Sniper's Ring, well, there's no reason to ever, like, you're going to take Battlefield Bandage, or it's a good ability to take anyway, because now you can use it sitting back there. She's no longer just pure damage, but there you have it. I love the changes that I did to all the marked targets. I am so glad to have seen Red Hook do the same. Like, Red Hook basically did what I did, and they added debuffs to all their marked targets. That is awesome. That has definitely, in my opinion, fixed all the marked targets. I'm very glad for these. Her camping abilities feel fine, although I still don't really ever use the healing abilities. Maybe when we start doing level 5 dungeons, though, I'll be camping to heal, probably a lot more, and these will be a great use when that happens. Bounty Hunter, I still need to fix Flashbang a little more. I have changed, as you see, Flashbang, so I need to test it a little bit. I'm not sure if I should actually increase the stun, but I probably should increase that stun chance by 5% per level. I like my change to Uppercut. It's a good, solid stun. It goes up, I think, 10% per level, so that's really nice. I didn't think I changed anything else other than this bleed goes up 1 point every single rank. He feels pretty good, like the Bounty Hunter. Like my change to the Occultist, I'm actually now glad I didn't put the stress back on Hands from the Abyss, because now I will definitely be using it to try to stun enemies. It's another tool in his toolbox. I like the decreased crit chance I did on these by 5% in my mod. I'm pretty happy with all his skills, and I love the stress he inflicts with Weird Reconstruction. I really like that much better than the bleed, because you can't stop. Well, actually, okay, you can reduce the stress by stress protection stuff instead of bleed protection. But I do like that change. Really like the changes I've done to the Leper. I like the focus change I've done. He can do a ton of damage. I love Revenge. It is fantastic, absolutely wonderful. Hugh is great. All his abilities feel good. I am very happy with my changes to the Leper. And I like his camping skills as well, so I don't think I'm pretty happy with him. Plague Doctor feels fine also. I just need to alter Disorienting Blast so the speed debuff goes up 1 per level. I don't know if I mentioned it, but Disorienting Blast adds additional effects to it each time you level it. So it adds another debuff at like rank 3. It affects the enemy's accuracy. It has a chance to blight them. It will shuffle them. And then maybe, I think the 5th rank has a small chance to actually stun them as well. I need to change a trinket that the Plague Doctor uses to actually give her a plus debuff chance, since I've changed this Orienting Blast as well. So I will be looking to doing that. Everything else about her is fine, so I'm pretty happy with her. Oh, other than, I still like the idea of giving one of these abilities, everyone gains disease resistance, but that will be really strong to balance is the thing. So right now, I'm just going to leave her camping skills as they are here. The Highwaymen. So, again, I changed Tracking Shot a while ago so that it self-buffed him automatically, whether he hit or not. I really like that this marks the target now. That, in my opinion, has fixed a great deal of the problems with the quote-quote, with the Highwaymen, and that he's lacking a lot of range damage. I also dropped the damage debuff from Pistol Shot, and I'm glad I did. He feels more or less just like the Arbalest now with Pistol Shot. Grape Shot Blast I've always been torn on. While I would like it to do more damage, it hits 3 people. So it's pretty good at softening all of them up. I think this is fine. Oh, speaking of softening up, I completely forgot to talk about the ectoplasms over in the Weld. I like the change I've done with them and that they cause stress. So I think those guys are fine. And the large ectoplasm, I need to fight it a few more times at level 3 to figure out if I'm happy with that. But those were the only little things I changed over here. Yeah, Open Vein itself doesn't even gain +1 bleed every single time you level it, because that might make it a little too strong. I can look into doing that, though. And Gallows Humor, I love my change to Gallows Humor. I hated these abilities when they had a chance to make someone gain stress instead of just losing it, so I really like this, really like that alteration. I don't think anything here needs any changes so far. And if you disagree, you're like, no, Tim, I think something should, please let me know in the comments. Assuming you were patient enough, and thank you for listening to this entire talk. Abomination feels fine. He's got great abilities, he causes all sorts of stress. There's almost no change, if any, that I did to him from the base game whatsoever. I think the only thing I did was lower the quickening cost from 2 to 3. And I think this does 50% less damage rather than 60 in the base game. Oh, no, I did change the amount of stress he inflicts when he transforms. I think I did. I'll have to double check him. But he's felt fine this entire time. I really like the Abomination. So he's good. Houndmaster, did I even change him at all? No. Well, I weakened Target Whistle because I weakened the amount of protection enemies have. Now, that's all I think I did. Yeah, that's all I did to him. Oh, and his camping skills. What did I do? I changed Therapy Dog. Now, it's reduced stress by 15 and minus 20 stress damage for 5 combats for 1 person. I like that. Yeah, that was all I'd done. I should mention this. I've been tempted to strip all of these watch abilities from an increased chance to surprise monsters to only decreasing the chance that the party is surprised instead. Just something I've been thinking about doing, because we've been surprising a lot of enemies because I adventure in high light levels. So, and anything you get that increases your chance to surprise the enemies, it can be a very good benefit to you. So, but overall, I'm happy with him. Pretty happy with the Man at Arms as well. I like my change to Retribution, though I think I'll up the damage mod to 50% rather than 40. But now that lasts 3 rounds, I've been actually using it. You see me using it a lot now, so I'm pretty happy with that. All of his other abilities are pretty good. I like all this stuff. I don't think he needs any changes. Down here he does. So maintain equipment, that's self-only for 4. But look at instruction. It's practically the same, well, not the same thing, but it's only 3 cost. Weapon practice, look at this. Weapon practice should be that should be 4 or 5. These should be 5 unit cost or 4 unit cost for these 2 abilities. These are just too fantastic. Yeah, I need to do something with tactics. I need to fix weapon practice. These are way too strong, I think. Or what I should do is tactics should be 10 dodge for 4 time units, and then a 50% chance that you earn, or like a 33% chance that you earn 3% crit. And this should be the same thing. I probably should lower that 75% chance for 5% crit down to 33% chance you earn it. for a 3-time unit cost for everyone, because that's really too good. That's too good. Grave Robber, what did I change on her? Poison Darts, I gave it the slight bleed and increasing blight damage each round as opposed to a blight debuff, and I increase the damage it does. This feels fine. If you can get both to stick to the enemy, they'll take quite a bit of damage. I'm pretty happy with that. Thrown Dagger feels fine. Shadow Field, yeah, these are all good. And I like the minus prop buff on Pick to the Face, even though we're not using it here. Oh, and I love the change I did to Tricks of the Trade. I love that Trap Disarm chance increase. That is wonderful. Night Moves is fine. Gallows Humor again. I like Gallows Humor, and Snuffbox is what Snuffbox is, so that's all pretty good. The Jester. Did I alter the Jester at all? I think I increased the chance that solo is applied, and I actually gave it damage. Damage increases as you level it, so that's pretty good. I don't think there's any other... Oh, and his bleed abilities always increase their damage a little bit. I know Slice Off absolutely does. And I lowered the damage mod from 40% to 25% there. I think I gave him plus 10% damage on Dirk Stab as well. These need some work. I need to look at these again and rebalance all of this stuff. He should... Yeah, these need some work. I need to figure out how to make all these fair and somewhat useful. I mean, these are actually pretty good. 15 lowers your stress by 5, plus 15 accuracy, lowers your defense by 5, 10 in cred. All command is 15 by 5. Maybe I don't need to alter these. These all look pretty good. Never mind. He's fine. He's fine. It's fine. Oh wow, that's all the heroes. Okay, cool. Man, alright, what else, if anything, needs work? What am I worried about? I'm happy with the changes I've done to the weapons, in that only equal level resolve heroes can now purchase weapons of that level. So level 4s can buy level 4 weapons and armor and skills, as opposed to level 3s. I think that's making it very more... that's making it closer for combats. We're not hitting as often, we're taking more hits, as opposed to walking around safely even at level 3. So I really like that Red Hook did that for level 5s. That was an excellent thing that they did, and I've obviously done the same here. I think the damage overall is working out well for our missions. You haven't seen my Yohannathale estate. It's gotten beat up pretty badly, and when we get crits, a lot of crits in a row, as you can see, it's a struggle, and we've had to flee. I still need to test the Shambler. Holy crap, we haven't fought in one yet. So I got to test one when I'm feeling that we can handle a Shambler with a group. What else do I need to do? Stress feels about right. I had a whole conversation with Stress in the last video. Hit points on the heroes feel about right. The money's good. Oh, I'm going to need to put the delay mechanic back in. We've gotten it like maybe 3 times when it comes to just getting the stress part as opposed to the reinforcements. It's been right almost every time so far. The 3 to 5 times we've gotten it, I deserved it. So I really think it's time to re-enable it. So I'm going to put the stress portion of the reinforcement mechanic back in right after this video is done. This way we're punished more for delaying combat, because that should be a thing. And then if it still looks like it's working great by the time we start doing level 5 dungeons, I will re-implement the reinforcement mechanic as well back to the game. Okay, I think that's it. The only other thing to talk about, I think, would have been the Darkest Dungeon. I don't even want to think about the Darkest Dungeon. I haven't altered anything in the Darkest Dungeon at all. None of the creatures, none of the bosses, which I'm assuming are in there, none of the levels. I know the levels are hard-coded. Like, I know it picks a map, and you get that map every single time, just like our first actual dungeon was. But I haven't looked at them. I did notice a few of the creatures, so I know what's coming up. I know what some of them look like. They look pretty freakish. But I'm not going to change the Darkest Dungeon. But you should know this. I will save this estate and do the Darkest Dungeon level probably a few times, so I can get a feel on the Darkest Dungeon, as it were. Because I won't be doing Dungeon Level 1 for Darkest Dungeon very often, and I need to, that means I need to do it several times to make sure I understand how the creatures work and see, do I need to change anything in that for my mods purposes? I probably won't. I'll probably leave it completely alone because it's the Darkest Dungeon. But we will see. So, overall, very happy with the mod. Everything feels just about right. There are trinket problems I need to fix. There's probably a few camping skills that need to be addressed. A few quirks need to be changed. Oh, and the curios. Some curios in these dungeons either need to be stripped or need to be changed slightly. Like, The books inside the Warrens. Why are there books in the Warrens? I don't know. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but I know better than to click on them. If I could, I would make it so you can only gain positive quirks by clicking on these curios. I'd change it so you can only gain negative quirks by clicking on these curios as well. And of course, you'd have a higher chance to get negative quirks than positive ones. Because the one time I purged all my heroes of their quirks, when they were level 5, I was clicking on those curios like crazy, desperate to get some sort of quirks for my characters. And unfortunately, as you can see, we've got full stacks of quirks because we don't ever need to click on any of them. And this also contributes to stress. We would be leaving with a lot more stress if I had to click on those curios. The pigment shrines, the tentacle altars, those stacks of books, those shelves, those pagan tied branches. I'd be clicking them all day if it was the only way to get curios. But it's not, and I don't have to. And that's another reason why I think I've got less stress in this mod, is because I'm playing what I think is intelligently. Don't click on the things that aren't useful to me. Now, I'm not going to click on them to test them because I haven't changed them anyway. So, okay, and that will do it. So, thank you everyone for listening to me ramble on for quite some time. Hopefully this was interesting at least. I'm very happy with the way the mod's working out. I'm very, very happy. Oh, and I need to talk about one last thing. We need to talk about what on earth I'm going to do for this mod when it's ready to go. So, here's my current plan. When the merchant patch comes out, March 8th, that's going to be a big patch. We're going to get a new character, there's going to be new localization that happens, and some new trinkets and what have you. So that means I need to get my changes into that. That's going to take a few days to do. Once that's done, I'm going to wait 1 week, because there's going to be a flurry of patches, as there always is afterwards, to get it all fixed. Fix the localization, fix any bugs that were introduced, etc., etc. And then it's time to release the mod. I'm assuming I'll have level 3 probably tested as much as I like. The problem is this. I have no idea how to get the mod to everyone else. I take it I would just find a hosting service, pay for it a little bit, and then upload the mod to that service. Probably ModDB or something like that. I've never done this ever before in my life. What I'll do as well is I will probably make a YouTube video showing how to install my mod. I'm not good at making like a installation wizard, so I'm probably just gonna zip it up, only the files that you need, and tell you like just unzip this in your Darkest Dungeon directory, and then be done with it. And of course, I will test it on my side first by deleting my Darkest Dungeon, reinstalling it, and then unzipping my tar over my game to make sure that all my changes work. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I can't believe it's getting to the point where I'm finally going to release this. This is pretty exciting. And I want to apologize in advance if there's any problems. One other thing. You should know that I'm American, which means I speak only one language. The localization files. I've changed, obviously, what people say when we go different places. In every single aspect. Some of them say different things when resting or when adventuring and so on and so forth. I've made new abilities, I've made diseases. But I've only done this for the English localization. I have no idea what to do for all the other languages. Like the German, Portuguese I think is one, Spanish. What do? I don't know. I don't speak the languages, so I don't know what to do. So they still say all the old things that they said. This will probably mean that, remember how we get that weird-looking colored string when no cheat ever seems to interact with something? Players will see that a lot when they're when the awesome Germans are playing or the awesome Spanish people are playing or what have you. They're gonna see, string quirk not found, localization, known cheat, interact with this, and then they'll take the object. I don't know what to do. I can use Google Translate for all of it. But I've heard that's not very good. That's what I use for the Latin translations for my characters. It probably sucks. But I don't know what to do. So if you speak another language and you could possibly give me some hints as to at least a program I should be using for this, please let me know. Because I could probably use the help. Otherwise, I'm going to view this mod as going to be a giant warning on it. Like, I'm so sorry if you don't speak English or you English is not your first language, because I don't know what any other languages what to put there. So I'm so sorry, France. I'm so sorry, Russia. Polish people. I'm so sorry. Okay, and now I am done. So thank you all for listening to me ramble on. Feels like I've been talking for 40 minutes or so. And now we'll do an adventure. So I'll see you in the next video. And thank you again.